If you're trying to start an Amazon wholesale business, getting approved by real brands and suppliers is a make or break step. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through how to do it step by step, so you're not stuck for months sending out emails, getting rejected, and getting frustrated at your business. Over the past few years, we've gotten approved by hundreds of brand name suppliers to resell their products on Amazon, which has allowed us to do over $35 million in total sales. So whether you're starting from scratch or you've been stuck for months waiting on approval, this step-by-step guide will give you an easier path to success and get you in the door with the right companies to do business with. Let's get into it. First thing we have to understand is, what is Ungating? Now, let's think about it, right? To become an Amazon seller might be one of the easiest things in the world. It is like going from crawling to walking. Why is it so easy? Well, Amazon, when it first started, it needed resellers. So what they did was allow a pretty low friction thing. You can literally go to sell.amazon.com and apply to be a seller. It is that simple. It will take you a total of 48 to 72 hours to now go from not being an Amazon seller to becoming one. Imagine if you had a lawyer who decided 2 days ago they wanted to be your lawyer, and in 48 hours they were now actually lawyers. It would be completely ridiculous, right? But that's how easy it is to become an Amazon seller. And they did that because when they first started, they needed resellers. They needed people on the platform so they can drive higher revenues and bring more people, consumers, to the platform. But the reality is, as they grow, it becomes more and more risk that it's so easy for them to have this many sellers. So they have two options. They can either make it harder to become an Amazon seller, more friction, or they can simply say it's harder for you to actually be able to sell certain brand name products. So what being gated is the same as not being approved to sell a brand. All it is blocking you until you can prove that you sell authentic products from being able to sell a majority of the brands. What most people try to do is go for things that don't need approval. And the thing about that is, while it is an easy way to get your foot in the door, there's two main issues with it. Number one, it's low-hanging fruit. Everyone loves low-hanging fruit, and when you have low-hanging fruit, you make low-hanging fruit money. Number two is the simple fact that there's no longevity to your business. Here's the thing. Even if you're ungated, you can sell a certain brand. If someone ever comes along, either the brand or consumer, or even another seller comes and says that your product is inauthentic, guess what? You don't have the documentation to prove that it is real. So you run the risk of getting your account shut down. So this is why you must go through this process. Trust me, it will make your life so much easier if you just bite the bullet and go this way. So we now understand what gating is, but now we need to understand, why are we gated in the first place? I had a call a few weeks ago with a new brand that we're working with. This is one of the biggest brands we've ever worked with. They do about $30 million per month on Amazon. First thing they said when we got on the call, they were like, yeah, and this is before we locked in the deal. They're like, yeah, our main issue with not working with resellers is because there's a lot of people selling fake products of our brand. I said, really? Tell me more. This is a supplement brand. What they were saying, it's not funny, but what they were saying was people was literally faking the entire bottle, label, cap, everything, and filling up fake white powder in all these pills and selling it on Amazon. That is insane. How frustrated as a customer would you be if you received a completely fake supplement? Would you ever go back to Amazon and purchase from them? Well, you certainly wouldn't purchase that brand again. And you might not even want to be an Amazon consumer again. So this puts the company at such a large risk on both Amazon side and the brand side, because it is so easy when someone can jump on and sell fake products for a consumer to now lose trust in the Amazon platform and that brand, and they've now lost a customer for life. So Amazon does this to add security to the marketplace and to protect themselves and the brand owners. Pretty normal. So what you want to do is go through the process of actually getting ungated. First thing you want to check is to see is, am I even gated for this brand at all? So what you want to do is apply to sell the brand. And all you do is go and try to add to catalog. Add the product to your inventory. And then it will let you know, hey, you're good to go on this brand, or B, you need to give us an invoice, or C, you're fully restricted and we don't care what you do, get out. We don't want you anymore, right? They're not allowing for any new sellers on that brand. Majority of the time, what you'll see is apply to sell to get Ungated. When you go to do that, what Amazon is going to ask you for is a few things. It's probably going to ask you for an invoice. And that invoice has to have a few things on it. Number one, it has to be purchased in the past 180 days, right? Past 6 months, you have to purchase the inventory, right? Not an old invoice. Number two, it's going to need your business name plus address on it. Number three, it's going to need the supplier or brand name and business, right? So they can know who you purchase it for. Number four, it's going to need the product that you purchase, generally with something called a UPC code. That's just the numbers under the barcode that you see. And number four, it's going to need the units you purchase. And number five, the unit price. This information lets Amazon know, okay, we can validate that this is real invoice. Sometimes they even call a supplier or the brand to do it, depending on how strict they are and I guess what kind of manpower they have. The main variable that's changed is this step right here, which is the units. What it used to be in 2024 is all the time when you went to get Ungated, they would only require you to have 10 units. Nowadays, that number varies. I've seen it as high as 500 units. Now, it varies from product to product, but I'm gonna give you at the end of this a little cheat code for you not have to worry about this at all. It's completely irrelevant. We could get around in like 2 seconds, right? But just remember, it's gonna vary from product to product, but don't let it scare you. So how Ungating works is when you purchase from your brand or supplier, they give you this invoice with all this information, and you submit it to Amazon when you hit apply to sell, and then boom, in about 24 to 48 hours, Amazon will approve you to sell. Now, how do you actually get the correct invoices to get Ungated? Well, let's understand the different ways there are to buy and sell products on Amazon. Number one, you could do something called arbitrage, right? Arbitrage is those guys you see who walk around stores with their phone out, scanning stuff, smiling like life is great, seeing that it can sell for a little more on Amazon, throw it in a little shopping cart, ringing it up, going home, prepping it, selling it on Amazon, right? Great business model, I guess. But this does not work on Amazon. Why? Because if I go to Target and I buy something, are they giving me an invoice? No. What they're giving me is a receipt. Even if I buy it on their website, I'm still just getting, some mock version of an invoice, but still a receipt. So Amazon cannot call Target to validate that you bought from them. So there's no validation process in there. This is why people have a bad time. So this is not something that you want to do in 2025. Next up, we got something called unauthorized distributors. Now, this is funny because if you look at any of my old videos, I loved unauthorized distributors. But the thing about it is unauthorized distributors do not have authority from the brand to resell products. So what happens is if Amazon ever goes to validate this distributor, what was going to happen? They can't do it because this distributor doesn't have certain things. They don't have something we're going to talk about in a little bit called their supply chain documents and something called an LOA. Now, what these are, supply chain documents, is literally just showing that the distributor purchased directly from the brand or an authorized distributor from the brand. Most of them will not have that. And an LOA is literally a letter from the brand that is authorizing that distributor to resell their product, right? What this allows is for Amazon to know, okay, that distributor has authentic products that is selling to you. We have the invoice proving that you bought it from them. Cool, we're good to go. We're going to get you approved. This does not work anymore because most of these unauthorized distributors do not have these documentation pieces. So you run into a lot of red tape. The other two methods is something called authorized distributors, or this, and directly from the brand, right? These are the different ways that you can get and buy and sell products. Now, unauthorized distributors have a full authority from the brand to sell to you. So they have something that we just spoke about, supply chain documents and LOAs. So when they can supply that to you, you are good to go to resell these products on Amazon. A brand, of course, as you can imagine, is going to have these documentation because they are the brand. So what you see is that these two models in 2025, I'm sorry, I forgot what year it was, are the ways to go. But this did start in 2024. These other two ways over here, while they still work from time to time, it is not consistent, and you put your account and business at risk. I just spoke to a lady who called me. She was super frustrated about selling on Amazon. She had been selling for about 2 to 3 months. She had just placed an order from China, Alibaba to be exact. The order was for about $4,000 worth of some tea. She bought it before being ungated to sell it. She received it and her cousin received it, both the same exact order. Her cousin was approved to resell that product somehow with her invoice from Alibaba, but she was not. And she was now sitting on $4,000 worth of a tea from China. I told her, she's like, why is that? Why do they not like me? Do they hate me if I'm ugly or something? I was like, no. Amazon is all AI based, right? When it comes to this approval process. So what you will see is that sometimes they allow for it to happen. Like you can have these receipts and unauthorized distributors, but for the next person, it doesn't work. And we continuously see this. It's like a hit or miss when you're doing this model. Now, that is just the ungating process where it's hit or miss. Where you run a risk no matter what is when you get down to if you ever get a complaint. If someone ever says that your product is fake, none of these invoices up here will work. They will all get you completely screwed. As soon as someone calls your product fake, there's a whole nother layer to this where Amazon will say, whoa. Well, we ungated you. We said you could sell, but someone, either consumer or the brand or another seller, is saying you're selling fakes. Prove it to us. And you don't have the documentation to prove it to. So even when you use these models over here to get ungated, you run the risk of your account getting completely shut down. It is against Amazon's terms of service. So these models, what we see as time progresses, is it is phasing out. Amazon no longer needs all of these unauthorized sellers selling brands and products on the platform. It runs too high of a risk, and they are consolidating the marketplace to work with people that operate in this zone right here. Authorized distributors and directly with the brands. This is, honestly speaking, one of the biggest shifts in the marketplace since the beginning of 2024. Now, here's the thing. When you go to authorized distributors and brand, there are 2 ways to go about this, right? And 2 different ways to actually get what you want from them. Let's split it up. If I'm going to an authorized distributor versus a brand. So when you go to authorized distributors, right, you're going to reach out to them via email. Okay, email. Very similar to the brand. Email contact. Next thing, they're going to actually allow you to open an account, or they're going to deny you. I'm not going to get too much into how to actually troubleshoot that. I'll have another video for that. But let's just say they approve you, right? Once you are approved from an authorized distributor, they're either going to give you something called a price list, or you're going to have to see what brands they sell. If you're going directly to a brand, they're going to either give you a price list, or you know the brand already, right? So very similar, right? From here, the conversation you need to have with them is, hey, and this is a huge change that we didn't do for the past few years up until 2024. You're actually going to tell them that you're an Amazon seller. It's mind blowing, right? I always recommend you didn't do that before, but you have to tell them. Why? Because when it gets down to the next step is you are going to need to ask them for those supply chain documents plus LOAs. Supply chain documents plus LOAs. Now, here's where things differ. Authorized distributors might not have supply chain documents and LOAs for every brand that they carry. They might only have it for some. So when it comes down to it, you want to ask them, hey, you carry these 50, 100, 1,000 different brands. Which ones do you have supply chain documents and LOAs for? They might ask you, why are you asking me for that? Transparently, I am an Amazon seller. I sell on Amazon. I need these documents to protect my business. So Amazon knows that I'm not selling any fake fugazi stuff, right? What will happen is there will be a certain sect, a certain demographic of brands that they carry that they should have this documentation for. That is where you focus your energy and time. And that's how your business is now safe, right? So some brands that they carry. When you go directly to brands, it's the brand. They have this authority because they own the rights to this brand. So all you are doing is, hey, when I purchase from you, I need the supply chain documents and an LOA. Generally speaking, they will approve you for this because they're selling to you and they know you sell on Amazon. There shouldn't be any friction right there. Now, what it comes down to after this is you're going to make an order, right? If you need to negotiate, you negotiate, but you make the order. And then what happens is they're going to approve the order. Say you need to negotiate, you put 10 different products on the order, they approve like 5, whatever. And those 5 you're going to place an order for. Now, this is where a ton of people screw this bad boy up. What they do is they go to these brands or distributors and they pay for this order. And then they worry about getting ungated. No, don't do that. What you do is you ask them for the invoice ahead of time, all communication. I'm gonna say, hey, XYZ brand, I need an invoice from you so I can go get ungated from Amazon. Why do you do this? Because let's just say for whatever reason, something on the invoice was not clear to Amazon's AI and they turned you down. You wanna give yourself time to troubleshoot that and get it correct to get ungated. Before you're paying for inventory, it's coming to you or your prep center or whatever, and you are unable to sell it or list it. You're on the clock. You wanna make this money as quick as humanly possible. So you always get the invoice first. And on that invoice, here's the thing. This is a key. Since Amazon has changed the rules, and it's not always just 10 units you need on that invoice, whether it's 10, 50, 100, or 500, that's what you need them to put on an invoice. Here's where people screw up. They think because they have 500 units on that invoice, they need to now buy 500 units. Negative. That invoice just needs to show that you purchased 500 units. Give you an example. We had a brand. We could only spend about $5K per month on this brand when it first started with no discount. To get ungated for this brand, we needed to have about, I think, 100 units on the order. But we only were ordering like 40. All we said to them is, dude, look, we want to sell these brands. This is what Amazon's asking. Create me an invoice that says I purchased 100 units. Let me use that to get ungated. Then once I get ungated, I'll buy my initial 40 to 50 units from you that I wanted to. And then we're in the money. We're in the clear. Because now I have the supply chain documents and the LOA in case I run into any friction, someone calling the product fake, to prove that it's authentic. Look, a lot of people get scared about asking brands for this and distributors, like they don't want to do it. It's all communication. This is a game of communication. You need to paint the picture for them. Look, dude, as a brand owner, do you not protect your brand? Yeah. As a CEO myself, as a business owner, should I not protect my company? Absolutely. What would happen if I purchase your product, I don't get ungated, and I'm stuck with this? Do you think we would have a very good working relationship moving forward? Or do you think I'd be a little reserved about continuing this business relationship? Well, you're probably a little reserved. So all I'm asking is for help me get approved to resell these products like we intended, and I will continue to buy products from you because I am now safeguarded. It is the same thing you say to your distributors. You are letting them know your intentions for a long-term relationship, and you're just asking them for one favor to get you pretty much the ball rolling. It is that simple. Look, getting ungated is where a lot of people get stuck. And what I continuously see is because they are not using these methods. They are doing old, outdated tips and tricks that used to kill it in 2021 and 2022, and they're trying to replicate those moves in 2025. You gotta learn the new tricks in the e-commerce space, right? You gotta learn from people that have already been there, done that. This is why even when I teach my students, I'm actively running my business for my partner. So as things grow, as we build in AI systems, as we do all these things, what happens? We test them in our business and we move forward and give it to our students. This is no different. When this first happened in 2024, we were feeling the same confusion. We're like, what's going on with new accounts? Like, why is this so hard? And then we realized, okay, this is how everything's working, and we deployed strategies to make the change in our business. My favorite part about this whole ungated thing, and a lot of people don't understand this part, is once you start getting ungated for brands and continuously sell and you're a reputable seller, what happens is Amazon, they kind of fall back, like, all right, we trust you. And what will happen is instead of like making you gated for everything, they will do something called auto ungate, where as soon as you click that apply to sell button, it will immediately open up the doors and you will not even need to submit an invoice. This happens the longer that you sell. Just think about it as, the security in front of a club, right? You come in, you're like, they don't really know you, never been to this club before. They're looking at you when you get in the door. They let you in, but they're looking at you. Now, you keep coming back for weeks and weeks. They're not even carding you anymore. They're probably giving you free drinks at the bar, all of that stuff. It's the same thing. You are building the trust with the marketplace the longer you sell. So just think about this as your entry to the club. And once you're in there, sooner or later, you might even be the club owner or at least a DJ or something. So just do this when you first start. Follow this exact strategy and I promise you, it will be super easy for you to not only get approved to sell brands, but to really scale your business. So this is the exact process that we use to get hundreds and hundreds of different brands and suppliers. And the exact step-by-step system that we are using to continue to scale our business, and the one that's brought us to do over 35 million in total sales on Amazon. If you want to see exactly how we turn those approvals into a profitable and scalable Amazon business, hit the link below in the description to attend our completely free live workshop that's probably coming up. We do them semi-often. And I'm gonna give you the exact source, the step-by-step roadmap to not only do this, but how to build this business from scratch all the way up to multi 6 and 7 figures per month like us. And look, check out the other videos on the channel. We have a ton that go in depth about everything you need to start and scale your business. Look, we got you. We've been in the game for about 5.5 years now. It's been a blast. It's changed our life, and I hope it changes yours too. See you later.